All right, well, thank you so much, ladies, for joining us today. I have gotten the chance to speak to you over the last couple of days, and I'm really excited for the whole crowd to hear what's been going on with all of your respective brands. I think just a good place to start. Let's just start with introductions. We'll go make it easy. We'll start with Kelly. Just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do for Spanx and what you're up to these days.
Sure. Hi, guys. I'm Kelly Goldston. I work for Spanx. I'm our VP of Growth Marketing and E-commerce. I've been with Spanx for about 2 years. Before that, I was at a direct-to-consumer plus-size women's apparel brand called Eloquii. I don't know if there's any Eloquii or Spanx fans in the audience. Hopefully a few. Okay. You don't have to tell me if you're wearing Spanx. I'll just assume it. So I've been there for 2 years, and I oversee all of our acquisition and retention marketing efforts, anything digital, so e-commerce operations, digital product, and consumer insights.
Sammy.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Sammy Barr. I am the Senior Vice President of Marketing for CB2. I've been there for just over 5 years. Anyone that's followed CB2, we've had explosive growth over the course of these last 5 to 8 years. Prior to CB2, so within CB2, I lead all things marketing, which includes performance-based marketing, digital, social, representing my amazing team. I'm sure half of them are watching right now. Brand experience, social media, digital media, analytics, and the entire creative team and production there. Prior to CB2, I spent a few years at Hyatt, and before that, a good majority of my career was at Starbucks, where I spent 50% of my time on the international side of the business and 50% US running marketing, as well as product and product development.
Fantastic. Angela.
Hi, I'm Angela Clark. I'm the head of digital at Patagonia. So that for Patagonia means I run the activism group called Patagonia Action Works. I also run all the digital expressions, so UX, UI design, product development, as well as demand generation, and I also run consumer insights.
Great. So you can see we've got a wide range of brands here, from shapewear to activewear. Maybe shapewear is activewear, I don't know, depending on how you define it, to furniture. And I think all of you probably have to think on a day-to-day basis how you bridge that physical to digital divide. And people want to touch things. They want to know how it's going to fit on their body. How have you been able to kind of, or they want to see the piece of furniture and how it's going to look in their room. What are some tactics you guys have used to think about how to bridge that physical to digital experience?
You want me to go?
Yeah, Sammy, go ahead.
It's like, if we pause long enough, one of us will take it. So I think for CB2, we started with one store, and then we're heavily leaned on the e-commerce side. It's about 70% overall, about 75% of our business, but we do believe in the physical touch points of stores. We have opened 7 stores in the last 5 years since I've been there, and we have about 3 more down the pipeline, 1 more in the next year here, or in the next few months. We are playing with, for us, it's about, I think what stores can provide you is that tactile touch point. And also, honestly, coming back from my Starbucks days, that human experience, because people want human connection. I mean, even though we just went through this amazing and hard pandemic, that we all sat and looked on Zoom screens, it's great even to be here and connect with others and learn from each other. So for us, it's really important on how we hire our store associates. What are those experience and connection points that we are bringing that really helps the customer build their home like they build their wardrobe? We've launched what we call CB2 Interiors. That is both, we have an online element, so if you're not in a store market, you can have help and support building anything from a tablescape that you need help with to your Christmas decor. We've outfitted a yacht and whole home experiences. I think the other thing that we leverage between kind of online and e-com is how we leverage the digital touch points within the stores, i.e. like SMS, to have people sign up for, whether it's the SMS program to have exclusive offers, that we can get them into our CRM. Also, we're even using it right now for our new mover journey, because obviously people have moved so much during the pandemic. So we're making sure that our associates are able to talk about that, so bringing physical connection and also leveraging digital technologies to make sure we're leveraging the stores to get customers into the CRM and into the portfolio.
Great. And Kelly, I know we were talking backstage. You don't, well, Spanx doesn't really have a large amount of retail stores individually. You do have a new venture in airports, which at first I was not picking up on the strategy, and then when you explained it all, it makes perfect sense. So I'd love for you to share with the audience on how you guys have approached that.
Yeah, so Spanx doesn't have any owned and operated stores, but we do have a wholesale relationship with a company called Parodies that runs airport stores. So when you think about the mindset you're in an airport, you're probably remembering all the things you forgot to pack. Slash maybe you're cold because you didn't bring a sweater. At least those are my two frequent use cases for shopping in an airport. And so in our Spanx stores, we really make sure that those airport stores speak to that specific customer experience that's happening right there. So a lot of our top sellers there we do sell a lot of shapewear. So someone's on their way to a wedding and they forgot to bring it and they run into the Spanx store. But the other one that's interesting is we have a new line of these really luxe, beautiful lounge sets. The collection's called Air Essentials. It's like the lightest, breeziest, most beautiful sweatsuit fabric you've ever felt. And we sell a ton of those in the airport stores, which makes sense, right? Because you're there and you're like, I'm about to get on a freezing cold airplane. I forgot my sweater. And you buy a pullover to bridge that gap. So I think a lot of times for us, when we think about the physical customer experience, is how do we meet her where she is? And it might be very different from the way she shops online.
Yeah, and really catering the products to that specific experience. Great. Angela, anything from Patagonia?
Yeah, absolutely. So Patagonia has about 50 stores across the country, and it's a very high-touch brand. Our lot of product is very technical sometimes. So a lot of times the store is their first experience into the brand. So our customers our staff is very well versed, helping people along there. And in that experience, we also have a lot of community environment things that happen within the store. So you're there to shop for a product, but you also learn about like what we're doing community-based to kind of support that region. And a lot of activism work. You can sign up for things. We have classes there. We often do. We have a repair process as well. So if you buy something from Patagonia, our guarantees you'll have it for life, and we'll repair it for you, or we'll help you recycle it if that's what you want to do. So we actually do repair events in the stores to bring people in. And in our research, we found that actually for digital, that's one of our biggest acquisition channels is our stores. So we really want to build that relationship and that connection, and as much as possible talk about online and in-store events at the same time, so we can continue that flow between getting people to shop both channels.
Great. I mean, no surprise here. The last 3 years have been crazy for retail with the global pandemic and everything that's been happening. How did that change your strategy at all? And what do you think of the things the new tactics that you've employed through that change? What do you really think is here to stay?
I can jump in on that one, actually. So one of the things that the team deployed was the ability to order something before it's in stock. So pre-order, and then back in stock notifications. So you can sign up for it. None of this is super groundbreaking, but it was groundbreaking for Patagonia. They do move pretty slow to bring in new technologies. And it's been a lifeline for us. For one, some really high demand items that we're constantly chasing inventory on. Patagonia's supply chain is very controlled. Everything has to be making sure that we're, from the raw materials all the way to the finished product, is very much controlled by us. So when there is a disruption in the supply chain, there's nowhere for us to go. We can't just switch to a new supplier. We can't just have someone else make that product. We have to kind of wait and work through the supply chain. So a lot of times that means it might be a year long before we get back into stock on something. So in that process, being able to communicate, order now, we'd be able to ship it to you in 2 weeks, and not lose that sale when someone's ready there for that intent purchase has been really big. And to the point of when we do a back in stock notifications for some of like our luggage wear, it can make or break our week just by getting that item back in stock. So we know how much pent-up demand we have and how much we can kind of go after that. So that's been a huge win for us, and we're continuing to evolve that as we go along.
Yeah, it sounds like in general, transparency has been a big thing for getting our customers through the pandemic, getting them through the economic times we're in. Kelly or Sammy, have either of you experienced that too in your day-to-day, and how's that looked?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone knows the supply chain is real. And as we were talking about backstage, like customers at the beginning of the whole thing kind of got it. But now you're 2.5, almost getting into 3 years here in, and it's actually, I'm not sure if it's getting better. But I think the transparency of what that has caused us to do to be much more nimble from a marketing team and really partnership with our product teams and the supply chain and transportation to understand actually where is the product, and when you're about to launch something, what percentage of the product do you actually have in stock, how much is sitting in the yard waiting to get in, and then how much is still potentially on the water. And so we're really looking at, let's just say fall is coming in for us, and you've got, we normally launch fall, say at the middle of July. Catalog's already done, small portion of what we do. Do we slide the catalog? From a marketing perspective, what are the products that we need to focus on? And how far out is a customer willing to say, okay, I'm willing to wait 3 months, so it's okay to put a pre-sale or pre-order message. But then if those get delayed further, what is that communication touch point for us, be that through SMS or other channels through our customer service center, that we're just letting customers know at all time. And that is one of the things that we put into the system, because otherwise you just got an email and you never heard back from us. But now you get touch points, and there's a little, you can see when you get the email, where is your order and when is it coming. So I think really being in tune with where the products are and then how do you market those products is really key. And just having an open and honest dialogue, and honestly being apologetic when you don't meet that customer need, because you'll lose customers left and right. So it's rough. And then I think the other thing I'd say through that, Angela and I were talking, I think we talked about supply chain all the way back to the hotel, but you've got a lot, many of you may face that you have a lot of inventory, right, because it hasn't moved. So then you have all this new stuff that's coming in, but I don't have any room in the warehouse to get the new stuff out of the yard. And so it's that balance of, in an economy where we sit today, where business is tougher than it was 2 years ago, particularly within the home space, margins are pressured. And so in order to move through that inventory that you actually have sitting in your stores or in your warehouse right now, it's like, how do you balance the right type of promotional communications with trying to hit the margin targets that you're looking at, and then also get rid of some of that inventory quickly in order to free up room, because obviously our products take up the majority of them. We're 70% furniture, so a lot of that takes up a lot of space in the warehouse. So.
Yeah, I think we're all dealing with the same issues right across industries. I'm sure you guys are too. I think for us at Spanx, it's really been making sure that our digital first, flexible, agile mindset is built in from the ground up. Spanx is a 22-year-old brand at this point. I come from startups, and you would be surprised how much the Spanx.com and growth marketing teams feel like a startup within a bigger brand. And we need to, right? Because we can't, this is not a world anymore where we can say, here's our media plan for 18 months from now, and look at this nice balance of channels, and everything's planned out, and we can do the photography, and then we'll move on. It's not like that anymore, right? We need to be able to be in the moment, and very frequently it's days before that we're making the call, and are we gonna launch this new style or not? And sometimes we're having to make tough decisions, we don't have all sizes available yet, but we're missing the extra small, or we're missing the 3X, or we're missing the tall inseam. What are we going to do about that? And so those are a lot of custom decisions, right? It's not something that you can create a blanket rule and then execute on. And so for us, it's been really important to make sure that our merchandising team, our production team, our logistics team, that we're all in lockstep to make those decisions together in real time.
Yeah. And how are you guys thinking about customer loyalty in these times? It might seem like a really challenging time to do that, but it also might be a huge opportunity to really earn the trust of some of your most loyal followers. Are there any particular tactics you've employed to make sure that beyond where we are economically, or through getting through the tail end of the pandemic, that these people are here to stay?
Mm-hmm. I could say, not to be a shill for Attentive, but SMS has been huge. And I think that's just a way that you can really speak to your customer and feel very close with her. For us, it's almost always a her, almost. And I think it's a way for us to communicate when we do mess up on something. If we do need to apologize, or if we want to take those true VIPs and really reward them. We've been doing a ton of VIP segmentation lately. Shout out to Lisa, who's sitting right there, who's running it. Go, Lisa. Yeah, Lisa. She is so embarrassed right now. She's about to walk out. But really finding those true VIPs who are the people who buy every single new thing we launch and who are really like the ride or dies, and giving them, I think Reformation was talking about giving them early access wherever you can, give them something to demonstrate and show, like, I see you and I care about you. We find SMS is one of the best channels to do that because it's so immediate and it feels so friendly and approachable.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same. I mean, we, again, plug for Attentive, but we've been with, I mean, when I came to CB2 5 years ago, I mean, our marketing team was fairly, we were raw. I mean, we've grown a lot, both technology-wise, and we actually started with Attentive probably 4.5 years ago, so right at the very, very beginning, and it's been awesome to have them by our side through this. And I think also we brought, through my time here, we brought email in-house and launched SMS. So we had an email agency, but we brought that in-house. And you know, my team is maniacally focused on really understanding the data and partnering, you know, within SMS. Honestly, that's a great way to build loyalty, looking at what your segments are, how you're caring for them, the exclusive access. We do a lot of that. We do exclusive access for if we have store events, right? Inviting those guys into our store. And they're super loyal. We've given them early access to, if we have a collaboration launch, they get early access to that. Just like, what are ways that you make people feel special? And you know, it doesn't have to be the full file. It can be like, where are those people? And you follow their journey and how much they're spending, and then figure out how you customize to that, right? So
We're going to come back to data in a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a great point. Angela, anything to add?
Yeah, well, I mean, Patagonia, I think it comes partly as a product experience as well for us. So like them, definitely the messaging piece of it, but I think we really try really hard to communicate the value of our product. It's not a, you know, we're probably one of the more premium brands in the outdoor space. And so not only do we talk about our guarantee, meaning that product's there for your life, we want you to have it for a lifetime. If you don't, we've got Wornwear, which is our used product where you can resell it, we'll buy it back from you and sell it to someone else. And then for some people, that's the entry to the brand. So a lot of times, like, how do you get someone who's bought a used product because it was less expensive and transition them into a long-term client? And with some of the research we're doing, we'll talk about data in a minute, we're really learning that, like, our most valuable customers are the ones who are buying a puffy jacket for themselves and their wife and their child, or vice versa, and that sort of family experience piece. We've really just kind of untethered that, and now we're looking at how do we message that to really even show that in marketing, because right now it's very much like gender-based and child, and it's like, they're a family. They're all together. They're buying it together. Our data's showing that. So let's shift our messaging and messaging around that.
Ironically, my go-to baby gift is always a Patagonia fleece.
Yeah.
'Cause that's like,
I
I think
love
as a
it.
parent, that's like something that you're like, oh, I can't, like, you know, but it's a
Yeah.
great, you know, gift. So I'm starting them young for you. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk a little bit about influencers. You know, how are you guys thinking about influencers to expand your reach and to build awareness for your brands?
Yeah, I can start. Influencers are huge for Spanx. I think it comes naturally to our product assortment. A lot of you probably know Spanx for shapewear, and that's certainly where we started. But we actually, primarily on Spanx.com, are selling apparel now. So leggings, work pants. The jeans I'm wearing are Spanx. We were launching a lot of tops. We have a new dress collection. And for influencers, it's such a wonderful way for them to sell something that is highly detailed, and there's a lot of like reasons to buy that you can't necessarily see just from the product. And it's almost like a mini QVC, you know, where they can talk about it for us. So they can say, hey guys, like, I'm trying these new jeans on. Okay, hold on, here we go. We're gonna, like, I'm trying, right? So like, you know, they'll say like, I'm trying these new jeans on, and you might not notice it when you first look at it, but there's no zipper and no button here. These are pull-on jeans, so they're extremely comfortable, and it keeps your front flat. There's a hidden shaping panel in here. There's booty lifting in the back. You know, they can actually, thank you. So, so there's actually, I think it's a lot more personal way for us to reach our customers and have a very authentic selling experience, where someone's really honing in on those details that makes these worth it, because that's why you would buy Spanx jeans and not any other jean, because it's going to make you look the best you've ever looked in jeans. And influencers are able to tell that directly to the customer in a way that really buys us a lot of social proof.
Awesome. I just have to say, I'm a mom of 3 kids, and I wore my maturity jeans probably a year too long just because they had that like smoothing effect, and now like Spanx has filled that need, so I'm gonna definitely go check these out. How about you, Sammy, at CB2?
Yeah, we definitely use, there's a couple ways that we use influencers. For us, we need to make sure that it feels, from the brand perspective, super authentic. And that's both from who we collaborate with. We typically just don't go out and pay a lot of money for folks that we do collaborations with. So we use our collaborators as influencers for us, because they've created the product themselves, and it could be an interior designer. It could be, we partnered with Lenny Kravitz and his design studio, Kravitz Design. We've done work with Goop in the past, right? And that was those folks coming to us and saying, we love your brand, we love what you're doing. And Gwyneth Paltrow showed up at the office and was like, I want to design a home line, and here's my vision, and here's what I want to do. And then when we have those, we make sure we're leveraging that content and their voice out, because it is their vision. So we use those sorts of people as influencers. Yeah, then we do use true influencers that we look for within the home space. I think the other piece that we've started to leverage influencer-like is interior designers that bring us UGC content on what they've done. So we then take that and say, okay, is there additional content that we can use that then doesn't look like we just paid an influencer to sit on something of ours and talk about that? So it's a little mix of 3 different ways that we leverage influencers. Our budget on that is not massive, and so we're very creative in how we go to market.
And how do you all connect some of these social channels to your SMS programs? Is that part of the mix for you, or part of the strategy?
Yeah, I mean, we've actually had success putting SMS on our social channels, particularly within Instagram. And again, tying back to that loyalty piece and exclusive access, that's how we will message that out there to get customers into the file on that. So we use from brick and mortar, we've got SMS like all over the store in different places, right? Just using either our associates or physical signage that draws them in.
Great. Mm-hmm. All right, well, I promised we'd get back to data. Data is increasingly becoming it's part of every marketer strategy. How are you using your data to kind of craft your roadmap, think about programs moving forward? Start with you.
So I'm actually relatively new to Patagonia. I've been there about 7 months. So for me, I'm asking a lot of questions. I mean, that's how I learn, that's how I absorb things and build strategies. So I think that data piece is about those questions. What do you want to find out? What do you want to discover? So we're doing a lot of basket analysis, which I was just talking about with the family purchase trends that we're seeing. We're evaluating lifetime value. Like, how do we define that? We're trying to understand. We have an activism part of our brand, and then we have, consumer part of the brand. What's the relationship between? Is there a relationship? We never want to take someone who's signed up to be an activist and push them to be a consumer, because I feel that's unauthentic. You know what I'm trying to say? But on the flip side of it, we have tons and tons of customers that we would love to be activism to help us save the planet. So what's those relationships and connections between maybe the sport? If they're a mountain biker, are they into clean water? Are they into, whatever local causes and things of that nature? So we're doing a lot of consumer insights and studies on that to try to understand how do we kind of bridge a whole new way of communicating and connecting with our consumer that goes beyond just the actual purchase of the product, but more in their lifestyle, and really get as many people as possible on our mission of saving the planet. Yeah.
Value-based analysis.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, I'd say we're, as I talked about, we're in constant evolution of our data. I think, we've had I just hired a great analytics lead, and she redid our segmentation, and I think it's rich in that to understand, okay, what is the propensity to buy, what's the lifetime value of each different segment, what do they need to get? Then the challenge becomes, how do I market to those people given a very small team? Like you guys, I like to say, I think we're just over 20 years, but we're like a well-established startup. every day. And so I think we don't have a loyalty program. We are working on that. We actually don't have an app. We are working on that. And I think it's how do you take the people we currently have, but we actually have a big aspiration to evolve this brand from what it was 20 years ago, and it has a lot, but it's like actually the customers, many of the customers in my current segmentation aren't who we want to go get, right? So I've got to figure out in the upper segments, there's a lot of lookalikes in there that I need to leverage to go after those people. But what's awesome is that everything's about the data and how are you curious and looking at it and figuring out new ways to reach people. And also even the ones that are in your portfolio, how do you talk to them in the right way that you don't inundate them with things they don't want?
Yeah, absolutely. Any surprises that came out of that data or that new like resegmentation, maybe even post-pandemic? Are there things that changed in your customer base that you were surprised by?
Yeah, I mean, our new customers, while we're heavily furniture-based, our new customers come in through typically accessories and decor because they look at the brand and they're like, oh my God, it's so cool, but I can't afford X, right? And I'd like to afford what you used to be, but we're not that. We have $6,000 marble tables. We've got sofas that are, $6,000, $7,000. High quality. We're very high quality at affordable price points and high design. So if I look at, when they brought me the new segmentation model, they put all the pictures of what everybody buys. And you look at that, and a lot of it's like, okay, that's stuff we've been carrying for like 20 years, some of it in different colors. And it's like, okay, it's all gray and black and white and very simple. So it was an aha of like, okay, what is the types of things that I can serve up to these guys that gets them coming back? And how do I turn a segment one that spent $50 with us? How do I get them? What do I serve up to them to get them to purchase pillows, right? Or rugs? And how do I move them through? Interior designers for us and the trade are very high in our highest segment. Yeah. And so that's also how do we nurture that audience? How do we get more of those? How do we get more into B2B? And how do we get new customers in the portfolio and help them look at, how do you look at your home like you look at your wardrobe?
Yep.
Because most people put their stuff in their home and they don't buy a sofa once a year, right? But you can change everything out and redo your entire home just by a few pieces. So anyway, we're just being super curious about the data, and it's like, what if? And let's try it. If it doesn't work, then pick ourselves up and keep going.
Try something new.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kelly, anything to add on the Spanx side?
I mean, I love everything they're saying. And yeah, I would say the use of data to nurture product journeys is something we think a lot about too. We have our segments very, very similar. We say here's our acquisition segment. She's coming in. Here's what she's buying. Here's our top LTV segment. How do we bridge that gap? And often it's not just hammering them with the message of buy our most expensive thing. It's often instead saying, oh, okay, I see that you bought this and this might be your next gateway. And then you're going to gain some more confidence and trust in the brand because you're having great experiences. And then there's another stepping stone, and then you buy our most expensive thing. And I think just being intentional about that journey and really having that long-term view of the customer instead of just thinking, I need to try to sell, for you, the $10,000 couch, maybe. For me, the $200 dress.
Yeah.
It's, how do we build her up to that instead of just trying to do this very unnatural leap?
Right. Mm-hmm. By the end of your journey, it's head to toe Spanx.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's me today.
That's awesome. Okay, I have one more question, and then I want to open it up to the audience to ask any questions that you have. So start thinking of them now. We have microphones back here to queue up. I know I get this question a lot in B2B marketing, and I'm sure you all do too when you're at events like this. What, to the extent you can share, how do you think about dedicating budget towards experimentation? How do you think about that in the scheme of your overall budget?
I can start and say it's a must. I think if you're not taking some portion of your budget and experimenting, you're wasting time. What are you even doing there? Because eventually the thing that's working today is not going to work in the future. We know that, right? This is an ever-evolving space. Mm-hmm. And so I think you really have to take a stand and say, I'm willing to take 10% of my budget, 20% of my budget, and say, maybe it fails, and it's okay to fail. Our Spanx founder, Sarah Blakely, I don't know if any of you know of her. You should follow her on Instagram if you don't. She's hilarious. But she always says, the biggest risk in life is not taking risks. And I think she's really created a corporate culture where we feel very empowered to take risks and to fail. She always tells a story about how when she was growing up, her dad would say at the dinner table, like, okay, how did everyone fail today? And he was looking for an answer. And if he said, like, I didn't fail at anything, then he would say, well, then you didn't challenge yourself today, or you didn't try hard enough. And sometimes you win, but even if you only win once out of every 10 times, that win is so much more powerful than what you lost the other 9 times. So we really take that approach into everything that we do. And sometimes we do sink a lot of money into new ad unit types or a new photography or whatever that is, and it doesn't work. But that's okay, because that's part of growth.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I mean, we definitely, I think in my previous brand, I worked for True Religion before coming to Patagonia, and when everything started to collapse with Meta, as far as advertising, luckily I had a really diverse, marketing platform and all the different channels we were doing. So when that started to fall off, I could lean into other things, like CTV was awesome for us. In this brand, same, I'm pushing the team, like, how do we continue to experiment and try other channels? Patagonia doesn't spend any money in Meta, and they probably never will. And so for me, that's like, okay, I've got to find other channels. What other social channels? I'm on Pinterest in this brand, which I would have never considered that in the other previous brand. So I think to your point, that experimentation, trying new things, and we have a percentage of budget that is like, let's try new channels. And then always kind of iterating. There's so much, especially when you have a really broad customer product base and so many different customers, from men's to women's and kids and accessories and travel. You kind of really need to continue to play and even play off of the data that you found. Like, how do you validate that the data you found actually resonates with someone? So it's really that sort of testing and learning piece, which I think is just innate in kind of what we probably do every day, but is really critical. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of an add-on question I have. Like, at what point do you decide, hey, this is working, it's time to scale, and how do you think about that? And then you've got to figure out, all right, it's not like just budget's raining out of the sky. So how do you figure out what to pare down and what to
Yeah,
to
I
scale
think
up?
it's a little bit of like art and science, and I think sometimes you have to trust your gut too. So, because you have some people in your team that are really much like statistical significance, and it's got to be here, and you're like, and sometimes like, okay, you know what, like, we're seeing something here. My gut says it's going to be awesome. It's already kind of leaning that way. Let's just go for it, I'm trying to do that. I'm sure you're probably familiar with that.
So yeah, same thing. I think I would say, actually, I always tell my team, like, honestly, 100% of the budget is up for grabs here on any given day. We'll set, obviously the beginning of the year is always better, particularly when you hit a hard downturn, because we all know what happens as you head towards the back 6 months of the year. The first thing to go is the marketing budget. So I think it is all about just like being curious, pushing the envelope. I love hearing new ideas from all parts of the organization and within my team. And the digital landscape is changing like by the week. So what we did last week isn't going to be what we do next week. So it's all about getting in, trying fast, failing fast if it doesn't work, and pivoting. And we do that across, all channels, right? It could be a store event. It could be how we do catalog. It could be how we open a store, how we do a store event. It's all of it. Just constant improvement.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have about 10 minutes left for any questions that you might have for Angela or Sammy or Kelly. So we have the mic right here. Anyone? Questions? No questions? I can keep going. I've got a couple more.
I have a quick question. I'm not sure if I might have missed it, but within the different channels that you guys promote on, is there anyone that you find, and it might change throughout the seasons, but is there anyone that you find is most productive, brings in the most ROI?
Across channels, you said. The question was, across all of your marketing mix and channels, like, at particular times of year, are there ones that you find more productive? Is that a good repetition of it?
I feel like it's a little bit of setup, but SMS is probably one of the...
She's a plan.
Sure, she doesn't work for Attentive.
I wonder why we invited up here.
Right. One of the reasons we love Attentive, but I would say from an ROI perspective is probably one of the most, because again, it's very personal to give someone your phone number, right? And so if they've given you that and you trust that and you honor that with that communication style, they pay you back in kind, definitely. I think from a return on investment is one of the highest for sure.
Yeah, I'd say for us, it's paid digital, paid social, and then, so right now what I'm protecting is working media, hard working media, paid digital, paid search, SMS, email's just sort of always on, so I don't have to cut costs there. Yeah, that's where you kind of get into it. I think also for our channel, right, even within paid social, you look at what do I use Pinterest for, right? And what do I use Pinterest versus Facebook versus Instagram as we look towards TikTok. We're not on there yet, but how that's changing, and then where does my content go, and what's aspirational, what's hardcore selling. And we're balancing that too, kind of at all times within how we split the investment. Because you've got sales that you have going on, you've got new products, and you just want, in our space, you want to be aspirational. So what does that look like as we pull that through? But yeah, those are the hardest working dollars we do.
Yeah, a lot of the same themes. SMS and email as the own channels are obviously going to outperform paid media. But then when we look at our balance of paid social and paid search, we're really careful to monitor that balance closely. And we want the prospecting arms of both of those channels to be about the same, right? Because if they're not, then shift dollars over to the more productive one. So that's really an ever-evolving balance for us. And then influencer has been really effective for us, like at selling. And we talked about influencer before, and I would even differentiate then an influencer between high funnel influencer, where you're getting a lot of eyeballs and maybe you don't get a lot of direct purchases, but that's not the point. It's somebody who is really driving the view of the brand, and you like that association. That's one kind of investment. And then there's the true QVC style direct selling influencer who are very effective at what they do, and we typically see an ROI there outperform something like paid social.
Great. Other questions? We've got someone here.
Hi, my name is Melissa Butler. I'm the founder and CEO of The Lip Bar and newly launched Thread Beauty. You guys all come from these brands with cult followings. Like, let's not even talk about Patagonia. It's crazy. So I am really curious to know how you balance sort of this brand building versus selling across channels.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
I'm happy to start. So I can't claim any credit for this whatsoever, but when Sarah Blakely started Spanx 22 years ago, for the first 16 years of the brand, not a single dollar was spent on advertising. Not a single dollar for 16 years. So obviously now I'm here spending the actual money. But Sarah's focus was really on just excellent product. Because she was like, nothing is going to sell this better than people experiencing it and loving it. And so even today, like, product innovation is a huge part of our overall strategy. And I'm not going to be able to spend marketing dollars effectively if we don't have product that people love on the other end. And we're constantly innovating and launching new things. We find that drives a ton of activity for us. And even like the other thing I'm wearing today is a new top that we're launching next week, just to continue the selling. No, but like the innovation is, this is what we do. So it looks like just like a white button down, right? But this is open, this is open, this is actually sewn shut. Because what's the biggest problem you have when you're buying a white button down? The gaping for women, at least, maybe some men. And so for us saying like, okay, well, we're gonna launch a white button down, but it's not just any white button down. It's the best white button down. So it's literally called that. And for us then, the word of mouth that you get from having that exceptional product experience cannot be beaten with any marketing dollars.
Yeah, and if you guys have a minute, I highly recommend listening to the Sarah Blakely episode of How I Built This. It's one of the best. I've listened to it multiple times, so it's a really incredible story.
Yeah, the other thing I'd add is for your team, like, be maniacally focused on your vision and your voice. And make sure in everything you're looking at, whether that's product, whether it's an Instagram post, whether it's your photography, like, you have to be able to step back, and everyone needs to understand the vision, and that everybody's working towards that, and we constantly push and pull on that. And we put work up, and it's like, okay, guys, 6 months ago, are we proud of this? Did we hit this? And it's like, what are our critical touch points that we want to hit? And if your entire organization is focused on that and they all understand it and get it, then they strive to achieve it. And we celebrate that together when we do. So it's a lot of work.
And I would say Patagonia is a combination of both of those. It is about product innovation.
Yeah.
It is about, constantly reevaluating, like, who would have thought you could take fishing line and make an outerwear piece out of that? Like, they really take years and years for those innovation pieces, and it really resonates and hopefully influences not just this consumer, but other brands on how they bring product to market. And I think that brings a huge following. And again, like we said, I think that ironclad guarantee that we want you to have that product forever, and if you don't have it forever, we want you to keep it cycling through the system. We don't want it to end up in a landfill, so we give you every reason to do that. So I think that adds a huge following for the brand. And then for what you were kind of saying, really messaging that and getting that across. And for us, when we talk about the stories, obviously Patagonia is another brand that was one of the original storytelling brands. We've always had amazing photography and National Geographic level photography and storytelling. And that's a big part of our brand that we can never walk away from. And for someone like me who's running digital, there's that constant pull of tension of like, well, I want to celebrate that we're, trying to save this native community in Alaska that's losing land to climate change, but I also need to sell something over here. So how do I do that and feel authentic about it? And a lot of times it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of what I've learned to appreciate, because I've worked for a lot of startups where we're building a plane as we're flying it kind of a thing. And I've had to kind of slow down at Patagonia and really be okay with that we really need to vet through it and like, do we really feel good about this? To your point, can we look back at it 6 months from now, a year from now, and still stand on what we said and what it showed up as? And so sometimes we feel a little more analog in that way, but at the end, I think it brings back that resonance. Is one of the reasons why people love the brand so much. And like I said, I'm new to the brand, I'm still learning, and I've just been in awe of just the reverence that people have for the brand and really, what they stand for inside of the org and outside of the org. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right, well, with that, I really thank you so much, Kelly, Sammy, Angela, for sharing all your thoughts and best practices. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for your partnership.
Thank you.